Hey, Ralph here. Welcome to Geoterrics Outdoors Australia. A little while back I bought a camera bag. I was taking my camera and stuffing it into various backpacks, and I started to get some scratches and a bit of dust, and I figured it's probably not the right way to carry a camera, especially since I got the new camera. And so I went on to Amazon and found this new brand, Neewer. I was previously impressed with another couple of brands out of Amazon, but this particular brand really had some fantastic components, and I've bought a few of them and I'm going to do reviews on a few of them. But this backpack, this camera backpack, is what I'm going to review today. It holds a lot of gear. Problem is, holding a lot of gear gives you a lot of weight, and it's not the most comfortable backpack to carry around for any length of time, and I'll get into that when I do the field review. But let's have a quick look around the outside. It's got a front zip here which opens up to a flat pack, which actually most other backpacks have got that on the back. This has it on the front. It's got a couple of drink holders. I'm using one at the moment to put the legs of the tripod in. Another one on the other side here, which will hold a full-size drink bottle and then some. There's quite a bit of room in that. It's got a top handle. It's got a backpack system with a waist strap and a couple of pockets on either side for batteries and whatever you're carrying. And then around the back, underneath the backpack straps, is where your main gear pouch is, and this is where most of your gear is going to go in. There's plenty of room in there for, okay, I've got a mic, the with the big lens. There's also room in here for other lenses, a power brick, and it's got these great little straps that velcro into place, so you're not going to be losing anything. It's also got these removable velcro patches here that you can then configure this to wherever it's best going to suit your purpose. But I've got it sort of set up. I've chucked most of them out because I need a bit of length, especially for this this lens. But I've got mounts, and I've got action cams, the GoPro, the 360. I've even got room for a monopod in there should I need it, which I could put on the outside, but it doesn't hold very well. I've got room for my little Joby octopus or tripod, extra gear, and just the usual lens cleaning, you know, wipes, brushes and cleaners and things like that. It's also got a little compartment at the top here for anything that's a little bit more delicate, say specs, your various cards and media and things like that, and that zips away in its own little compartment. I think that's a great little feature. It's also got two flaps here, one basically a small one and a larger one here, which will probably hold a 15-inch laptop, but I've currently got my tablet in there, and the whole thing zips up to be out of the way. There's a bit of padding here, and at first glance that looks okay, and it's actually ridged, so any perspiration that you're going to have on your back isn't going to get into your camera gear. It's going to get soaked up by these ridges here and the foam that's in there. But for a long day, I'm a little bit concerned about that, having all your gear right next to your back and not having a couple more layers to absorb that. It's got a headphone port here. You can take your headphones out and listen to music if that's what you wanted to do. Unfortunately, it doesn't have any room for a bladder, and I wouldn't want water anywhere near this. It's okay in a bottle on the side, the way it is here. It's also got a number of handy straps. Now, like I said earlier, I've got my tripod stuck in a little drink holder there, and this little strap, I could either do it the way I've done it here, or I could put the whole thing in there and it'd sit a bit lower. But for this particular tripod, it's just going to dangle around a little bit too much. So that's a really handy feature. The backpack straps also have a sternum strap with a whistle, which is a fairly standard feature nowadays, and some extra loops if you were to need to put various bits and pieces in there. Little secret compartment at the top here, not really good for all that much, but hey, it's there. It's got these two little pull straps on this side. I think all they are is to hold canes and things like that. If you were to put a walking stick in there with a handle, you could probably tie them off, and there's another set on the bottom on each side. It's also got an integrated rain cover, which is loose, which you can put over the whole thing, and that material looks to be fairly waterproof. And it's got straps that you can keep it in place. It's also got a couple of rubberized pads on the bottom, so when you sit it down, it's going to give it a little bit of protection from the ground and any wet ground or something like that. Also has this convenient strap at the front, which you could put another tripod down there, but there's no attachment point there to keep it in place. In addition to the bottle holders, it's also got fairly flat zip pouch. There's one on the right side, but there isn't one on the other side. Build quality is fantastic. These zips and the little zip handles are great, good quality, nothing's broken. Another little feature is this little combination lock here that you can set up and put your two zippers into here, and it'll lock those away. I haven't actually set it up, so I'll just use the default code, which is, like most things, 000. That pushes. You can now put your little zip handles in there, and when you let go of the button, it closes everything off. So I've used this for a few months now since I got it, and I'm actually quite impressed with it as a travel bag, because it'll take my personal and my work laptops in the front pouch here. It'll take a camera, some spares, batteries, everything that I need it to carry. I'd hate for an airline to weigh this for carry-on with my big camera and lens, the batteries and all the various other bits and pieces I've got in here. I'm reasonably confident that I'd be in some trouble. Have been on a couple of trips and haven't been weighed, and getting pretty close to the carry-on limit. But right now this bag is probably 10-12 kilos. So let's take it out in the field and do a bit of a field review. Yeah, real problem that I've got with this is the spacing between the top of the shoulder and the waist strap. It's too close. There's no adjustment or very little adjustment in the height of the shoulder straps, and so when it goes on, I either have it low on my back, which gets uncomfortable after a little while. I'll let these out so I can get the waist strap on, and have it over the hips where I need it to be to carry the weight, but then the pack is low on my back, and it actually rubs up against here because this is where all the weight is. Not a good system. All in all, makes walking with the pack just that little bit uncomfortable, and after about an hour and a half that I've had it on this and other walks, it becomes irritating, yeah, it's not a long distance camera bag. It's a camera bag, chuck in the back of the car. It'll keep everything sort of in order and all in the right place, and then you grab your camera and lenses, whatever you need, and then you take that in another bag. So for long hikes, it's really not going to work very well because it just starts to get irritating, and after about 4 or 5 hours, it starts to get painful on the shoulders, and that really doesn't work. Problem is, I've got a long torso. If you didn't have that problem, if you were shorter, you maybe wouldn't have that problem, and you could wear most of your weight on your hips, and the hip strap would do you quite well. Unfortunately for me, it's either I've got to lighten this right down, put the camera around my neck, and well, that just defeats the whole purpose of having a camera bag in the first place, for protection and things like that. And then if you get a shower of rain, you've got to stop, you've got to put the camera in, you've got to get the cover over it. There's lots of steps involved there, and it doesn't always work smoothly in the real world. So all right, let's look at some of the pros and cons. Volume wise, it's got heaps of volume, plenty of room for everything that I need, and I'm looking for things to put in there to fill up the space. It's got enough straps that it's going to carry all of my gear, as well as usable space for a water bottle, the various pockets are all in the right spot, and the configuration inside on both pouches is great. It'll be able to take my work laptop and my personal laptop in this front compartment there, and the battery packs for them, as well as a mouse and any other bits and pieces. I've done it a number of times travelling for work. The backpack itself is a fairly decent system. The couple of the pockets on the belt on either side are very handy and very useful. The webbing's tight, and it's of good quality. Little locking system is a plus. Let's look at the cons. The configuration of this backpack is letting the bag down. It's not quite long enough, and there's no way to lengthen this without having the backpack ride really low on your back, just like we showed you in the field review. It's not comfortable for long periods, but other than that, it's okay. The other thing that could be considered a con is having the main compartment right next to your back. I did take it out in some warm weather, and these did get a little damp from perspiration. But yeah, and then you've got to keep remembering, if you, like me, have ever used a backpack and you want to keep walking and you want to access your pack while you're walking, you put it on back to front. With this here, you can't do that, which is probably a good thing, especially if something isn't quite secured in there. If you had it around the other way, it could quite easily spill on the ground in front of you. So maybe that's a pro, maybe it's a con, I'm not quite sure. But there's really not a lot I can fault with this Neewer camera bag. So my score, based on those pros and cons, is going to be 4 out of 5. It'd get a 4.5 or even higher if the backpack straps would be a little more adjustable. Neewer, if you're watching or listening, that'd be a fantastic feature. If you could have some straps here, that would just give us that little bit more adjustment, so that it doesn't ride so low on the back and make it so uncomfortable. If you've enjoyed this video, please give us a like or a thumbs up. Please share it with your friends. Please leave us a comment. I'd love to hear what you think of the pack, or if you've got a better one that you've used. Love to read your comments. And again, like usual, thanks for watching.